vipi? Shallow Tina Tina, yeah. Shallow Tina Tina, yeah. Ay 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 ay.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asado vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo, se vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa bongo mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa ng'ambo mambo vipi? Haina shobo mchizi wenu nipo ndani ya bongo nipo bado unaendelea kufanya mambo. Watu wangu wa town mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Dodoma mambo vipi? Hey hey nisubirini Triple A na nyoa Dodoma nitakuwepo Tiger Hotel. Watu wangu wa Mwanza mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Shinyanga mambo vipi? Simnalala fanyeni biashara madini Masangara mtapata mahela kibao tukiuza Ulaya. Watu wangu wa Morogoro mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Tanga mambo vipi? Mnakaa mnajiuliza Tanga kunani? Fanyeni kweli kama nzenu wa mjikazoro kwani.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asado vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo, se vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo.
Sikilizaji mambo vipi? Wika mwamba kamtoa mchizi Mox ili nyinyi uko street muuchezo muziki. Kama kweli mko fiti Kampala mambo vipi? Nairobi mambo vipi? Mkisikia muziki mnabudi kusheki mubugi mudensi musheki unopiano kama snake. Play that mambo vipi? Caesar Star mambo vipi? Aina haja tatapamba mwala Suba Bela mambo vipi? Jerani Ure yako siya sema vyo vyao tu ndo vinavyotetea. Wale tuishie hapa.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asado vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo, se vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa Kinondoni mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Magomeni mambo vipi? Kama vipi tuonane Wayne Spaki alafu misos tukane American chips. Watu wangu wa Kigamboni mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Magogoni mambo vipi? Ninakuja nishakodisha pantoni tunaenda kujirusha huko kwenu. Watu wangu wa Mwenge mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Temeke mambo vipi? Msiboteke na wala usiku msiweke muda umekwenda zimebaki siku chache. Watu wangu wa Ilala mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Tabata mambo vipi? Naona vipi mchizi wenu si bad niko fiti na bad na komana muziki. Shallow Tina Tina, yeah, mtole mwingine tena.
Bwana leo, mandapa kusiao.
K.Lee, Manriza, MX, Mwangani toka kwenye giza. Nimerudi.
Manriza, mambo vipi?
Hi.
Nag.
Emmanuel Macron ci ha definiti vomitevoli, cinici, irresponsabili. E qui la stampa italiana a dire hai visto che ha detto Macron, che siamo irresponsabili. Vergogna. Irresponsabile Emmanuel Macron sono quelli che hanno bombardato la Libia perché gli dava fastidio che l'Italia avesse un rapporto privilegiato in campo energetico con Gheddafi, esponendoci al caos migrazione nel quale ci troviamo. Cinici Emmanuel Macron sono i francesi che mandano la gendarmerie a rispedire indietro qualunque immigrato tenti di passare il confine a Ventimiglia. ma soprattutto perché le cose vanno raccontate come si deve. Vomitevole è chi... Buono, che lo vuoi tu? Ci hai mai tolto il pathos? Vomitevole è chi, come la Francia, continua a sfruttare l'Africa stampando moneta per 14 nazioni africane sulle quali applica il signoraggio, facendo lavorare bambini nelle miniere, estraendo materie prime come accade in Niger, dove la Francia estrae il 30% dell'uranio che gli serve a far camminare le centrali nucleari e il 90% dei nigerini vive senza elettricità. Non ci venire a fare lezioni, Macron, perché l'Africa scappa da voi e la soluzione non è spostare gli africani in Europa, è liberare l'Africa da certi europei. Non accettiamo lezioni. Chiaro?
Alhaji Taikunyali, yeah, aka Mchizi Mox, yeah, mambo vipi, yeah, vipi, Charlotina Tina, yeah, Charlotina Tina, yeah, ay, 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 ay.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa bongo mambo vipi, watu wangu wa ng'ambo mambo vipi, ina shobo mchizoni, nipo ndani ya bongo, nipo bado unaendelea kufanya mambo. Watu wangu wa town mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Dodoma mambo vipi, hey hey nisubirini Triple A na nyoa Dodoma nitakuwepo Tiger Hotel. Watu wangu wa Mwanza mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Shinyanga mambo vipi, nalala fanyeni biashara madini Masangara, mtapata mahela kibao tukiuza Ulaya. Watu wangu wa Morogoro mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Tanga mambo vipi, semnakaa mnajiuliza Tanga kunani, fanyeni kweli kama enzenu wa mjikazoro kwani.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo.
Sikilizaji mambo vipi, Wika Mwamba kamtoa Mchizi Mox ili nyinyi uko street muuchezo muziki. Kama kweli mko fiti, Kampala mambo vipi, Nairobi mambo vipi, mkisikia muziki amna budi kusheki mubugi mudasi musheki yuno piano kama snake play viad mambo vipi, Sinza Star mambo vipi, haina haja kushangaa kula kitu kisha tampaa, mamwela mezagaa kila kona ya mtaa, unakwisha ukizubaa Beila mambo vipi, wachizo ngojela ni vipi, hata huku raiani kuna watu wanakosema vyeo vyao tu babu ndo vinavyotetea, wale ushi hapa.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa Kinondoni mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Magomeni mambo vipi, kama vipi tuonane highway na itipaki, alafu misos tukane American chips. Watu wangu wa Kigamboni mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Magogoni mambo vipi, ninakuja nishakodisha pantoni, tunaenda kujirusha huko kwenu. Watu wangu wa Mwenge mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Temeke mambo vipi, tukoteke na wala usiku msiweke, muda umekwenda zimebaki siku chache. Watu wangu wa Ilala mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Tabata mambo vipi, mchizi wensi bad niko fiti bad na komana muziki.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na
Nganitoka kwenye giza. Nimerudi.
Mambo vipi?
Hi.
Nag.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight or this morning. It depends where you are. We are going to be talking about a unique country in Africa with very big history. So I am still waiting on my special guest to show up in studio, but the country we have in hand today is gonna be Niger. Niger, a country in Africa, not Nigeria. Some people, they always get those two countries confused because obviously they are next to each other, but in addition to that, they are also, the names are so close to each other, so you can figure out which one is what. So today we're gonna be looking into this country called Niger, not Nigeria. And the history of what is going on in the country, the contribution of the country, and so on. So I want to show you exactly where the country is located so that you may have some clue about what I'm talking about pretty much. So this is the country, Niger, as you can see, is in the north of Nigeria. And you can imagine that the country is possibly have the same culture and ethnics from Nigeria. They go to the other side of Niger. And the reason why these countries actually separated, despite the fact that they are supposed to be one country, is because Nigeria was colonized by British, whereas Niger is colonized by was colonized by France. I say it's colonized, but yeah, possibly still colonized. And the capital is Niamey. That is the capital, and the people there is one of, I don't like to use this, but anyways, it's one of the North Sahara part of the country, like Chad and Sudan. So they are on the same line of Sudan, Chad, and Niger and Mali, all the way to Mauritania and Senegal. Those are pretty much almost in on Saharan regions countries. So I have not get a chance to go to Niger, but I definitely believe it must be a beautiful country. And you can see that Niger domination when it comes to religion is Muslim country. Yeah, because it's part of the North African country, so majority of people are Muslim, and the other religions are practiced in Niger. So the colonial language is, of course, French, but there is other indigenous languages that people speak in Niger. So we're gonna have a special guest from that country who is gonna be telling us exactly about the country if he's gonna be coming in. Mr. Hassan AbuBKR Midal. Hassan AbuBKR Midal is a graduate from Tripoli, and he have experience working as journalist, but also he worked in Foreign Affairs, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Niger. So he have a lot of information that he's going to be talking to us about. But as I was saying, so Niger is a country colonized by France, like Mali and Chad and those Burkina Faso and so on. So those countries actually is in Chad, and those countries are actually not at least or at peace because of the natural resources, the terrorism going on in those areas. That's why there is even military bases in those countries trying to bring peace, but they could not, or they tried, but they did not. So pretty much that's what we know about Niger country in short. But I also want to read you article about Niger that I found to be interesting, and I think you can even search that is something very ridiculous, but it's a reality. So here it is article. Let me see if I can share that view on screen so you may be able to see that. It said that, let me see. Yeah, here it is. I found this to be very interesting. It said that in France, 1 out of every 3 light bulbs is lit thanks to Nigerian aluminium. So Nigerian, which is Armenian. In Niger, near 90% of population has no access to electricity. The situation cannot continue. France must prove that the time for secret agreement, close negotiation, and pressure is over. So this was actually put out in 2013, but obviously is something still going on, as the Prime Minister of Italy, she was talking about that. I hope you guys hear about her, what she have to say. So she was talking about that, and obviously still as a fact that there is this kind of problem that is going on in Africa, where we have our resources going all the way to other countries, but here in Africa we have nothing. So and in consequence for that reason, we have war going on or firings every single time in many of countries in Africa because of this natural resources that we have. And I definitely believe that we as African, we need to figure out how we can unite, maybe for our own survival. Otherwise, if we keep divided, then we will have to face more consequences or more problems. So
Alhaji Taikuni Ali, yeah, aka Mchizi Mox, yeah, mambo vipi, Charlotte Tina, yeah, Charlotte Tina, yeah, ay.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asado vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa bongo mambo vipi, watu wangu wa ng'ambo mambo vipi, haina shobo mchizoni, nipo ndani bongo, nipo bado unaendelea kufanya mambo. Watu wangu wa town mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Dodoma mambo vipi, hey nisubirini Tripoli na nyoa Dodoma takwepo Tiger Hotel. Watu wangu wa Mwanza mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Shinyanga mambo vipi, simnalala fanyeni biashara majini Masangara mtapata mahela kibao, kiuza Ulaya. Watu wangu wa Moro mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Tanga mambo vipi? Sema kaa mnajiulizanga kunani, fanyeni kweli kama enzoni wa mjika zoro pwani.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asadu vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo, se vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo.
Sikilizaji mambo vipi? Mwamba kamtoa mchizi mbili, nyinyi uko street muuchezo muziki. Kama kweli mko fiti, Kampala mambo vipi? Nairobi mambo vipi? Mkisikia muziki mnabudi kusheki, mubugi mudensi, mushek kuno vyenu kama snake. Play viad mambo vipi? Sinza star mambo vipi? Haina haja kushangaa kula kitu kisha tampa wala Beila mambo vipi? Machizo ngojela ni vipi? Hata huku raia kuna watu wanakosea, sema vyao vyao tu babu ndo vinavyotetea. Wale tuishie hapa.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asadu vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo, se vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa Kinondoni mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Magomeni mambo vipi? Kama vipi tuonane highway na itipaki, alafu misosi tukale American chips. Watu wangu wa Kigamboni mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Magogoni mambo vipi? Ninakuja nishakodisha pantoni, tuenda kujirusha huko kwenu. Watu wangu wa Mwenge mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Temeke mambo vipi? Msiboteke na wala usiku msiweke, muda umekwenda zimebaki siku chache. Watu wangu wa Ilala mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Tabata mambo vipi? Mwana vipi mchizi wenu si bad, niko fiti na bad na komana muziki.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asadu vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo, se vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semendas vipi mambo. Bwana leo mandava kusiao.
Yeah, Charlotte Tina, yeah, mtole mwingine tena.
Bwana leo mandava kusiao.
Kaylee, Manriza, MX, Mwangani toka kwenye giza. Nimerudi.
Mambo vipi?
Hi.
Nag.
Yeah, thank you so much. Again, I'm back. I'm still waiting for my special guest to join me in the studio. As I was telling you that today we're gonna be looking into the country called Niger, in maybe Central Africa or West, it's North. I don't know. You can't figure out where it is, but I think it is big part in the north part of Africa. So the history is that the country Niger is West Africa Sahara region is a fourth the size of Alaska, is surrounded by Mali, Algeria, Libya. You see, it's in pretty much on north that side as well. Chad, Nigeria, Benin, Burkina Faso. The Niger River is the southwest flow through the country only fertile area. Also where the land is semi-arid. I don't know what that means. Republic emergence from the military rules. Yeah, it is definitely. So the country Niger, president today is Mohamed Bozoum. Prime Minister is Mohamud. So the population is actually estimated in 2022 that is around 20. Yeah, the population is around 24 million. So it's not that much actually, but it's okay. It's okay. And of course, I already said that the capital city is in Niamey. And let me go on the languages. Languages in Niger, we have French as colonial language, and then Hausa and Dejmal, Dejma, I don't know if that's right. But the ethnics in and race there is Hausa 51. Oh, that's why Hausa ethnic is the biggest, is among the biggest ethnic in Africa. So Hausa is 53% of the population. Well, okay. Zarma is the next one with around maybe 21. And Tuareg, oh, they have Tuareg there too, with 11%. Fulani also 6.5%. Kanuri, almost 6%. Gurma, that's the minority there. And there is also Arabs actually, 0.4%. Tubo is also 0.4%, and other ones are not available. This comes from there is statistics in 2006, so pretty much you haven't changed. And religions in Niger is 99.3%, and Christianity is 0.3%, so 99. Okay, and 0.2% are none, or 0.1, something like that. So that this also came from in 2012 research done, and there. Let me see what is saying about this. So the nomadic Tuareg were the first inhabitants in the Sahara region. The Hausa on 14th century, Zerma on 17th century, Gabil in 18th century, and the Fulani in 19th century also established themselves in the region now called Niger. So pretty much the first people to live in the region were the nomad Tuareg. Tuareg are people in North Mali, and also, as we can see, in Niger. So Niger was incorporated in French West Africa in 1896, where they were frequently rebellious, but when order was restored in 1922, the French made the area of colony. In 1958, voters approved the French Constitution and voted to make the territory of authority republic with the French community. The republic adopted a constitution in 1959, but the next year withdrew from community, proclaiming its independence. So that is pretty much the short history of the name Niger. But if you want to know more about the history, the true history of Niger, you possibly needed to go to what was the Kush countries, because it was part of the Kush countries a long time before even this Niger to be called its own country. So as you can see here, I already said about the languages and other things, but the languages say that French inheritance from the colonial period. Of course, it is the official language. It is spoken mainly as a second language by people who has received a form of Western education. Yeah, that's brainwashed people, and serves as administrative language. Niger has been a member of the organization International Dollar Francophone since 1970s. So this is the Francophone things where people go there and they think they are from France, but they are not. And Niger has 10 recognized national languages. So you got 10 national languages, mainly Arabic, Buduma, Furfunde, Gurmashe, Hausa, Kanuri, Zarma, and Sanghai, or Tamashek. So each is spoken in language primarily by the ethnic group which it is associated with. Hausa and Zerma Sangai, the two most spoken languages, are widely spoken through the country as first and second language. So as you can see, Hausa is, I already said that is around 55%. So if there is any election, which I don't know if they ever have an election, but the Hausa language, the Hausa people, Hausa ethnic, maybe will dominate that election, or they will dominate well, but people have to say, yeah. So the religion is also, again, as I say, it's Islam, as already said. So history, the better history of Niamey. Some agree it was originated in Shanghai fishing valley, named after the local Niamey tree. The other maintain it was founded by Derjama chief named Kauli Mali. Oh, maybe that's Kauli Mali will possibly maybe relating to the country. Yet most of agree that the site was inhabited by a small number of Hausa, Derjma, Sangai, or Wazi people before Europe colonizers. Of course, Europe colonizers come yesterday. In the late 1890s, the French began to colonize Niger. In 1902, the French built a military fort in Niamey as a small fishing village at the time. Then in 1926, the French moved their colonial capital from Zin to Niamey to facilitate trade along the Niger River, which other French territory in West Africa. During the colonial period, Niamey also served as an important connection point in overland trade of agricultural goods. That's how they connected, steal everything from us. Those agricultural products were growing in Niger's outlying area and transported to domestic and international markets, especially Abidjan and Lagos. However, trade was hampered by lack of railroad connection through Burkina Faso and poor roads through the region, which were often imposed during the railroad season. The population of Niger remained small into the 1940s, with fewer than 10,000 inhabitants. After World War II, the city population began to increase as a great African authority seat near of Niamey appear to be a likely government center. In 1960, Niger won independence and Niamey became its capital. After the independence, Niamey continued to grow, attracting Hausa and Yoruba merchants from around Niger, as well as from the neighbor countries Nigeria, Benin, and Togo. In the 1970s, Niger saw greater profit from the National Aluminium Service, which financed Niamey's modern infrastructure. When aluminium price fell dramatically in the early 1980s, this decline led to social and political tensions as the national president, Major General Seyin Kutume, attempted to restore the economy. He imposed austerities measure which had widespread protest, especially in Niamey. Rapid cessation of president after Kutume's death from natural cause in 1987 added to Niger economy and political instability dispersed, the unrest, the population of Niamey continued to rise, reaching a estimate of 940,000 in 2009, a nation of 18 million people. So, and then let me see if I can give you a little more of the history, but yeah, let me take a break. I'll be right back.
Haji Taikunyali, yeah, aka Mchizi Mox, yeah, mambo vipi, shout Tina Tina, yeah, shout Tina Tina, yeah, ay.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa ng'ambo, mambo vipi? Haina shobo, mchizoni nipo ndani ya bongo, nipo bado unaendelea kufanya wangu wa town. Watu wangu wa Dodoma, mambo vipi? Yanga, mambo vipi? Mnalala, fanyeni biashara madini Masangara, mtapata mahela kibao kiuza Ulaya. Watu wangu wa Moro, mambo vipi? Watu wa Tanga, mambo vipi? Mnakaa mnajiuliza Tanga kunani? Fanyeni kweli kama ndio mjika swali.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo.
Sikilizaji, mambo vipi? Wika mwamba kamtoa Mchizi Mox, ili nyinyi uko street muuchezo muziki. Kama kweli mko fiti, Kampala mambo vipi? Nairobi mambo vipi? Mkisikia muziki mnabudi kusheki, mubugi, mudensi, mushek, judo vyano kama snake. Play vyad mapi, Sinza Star mambo vipi? Haina haja kushangaa, kula kitu kisha tambaa, mamwela mezagaa kila kona ya mtaa. Unakwisha ukizubaa, bei la vipi? Wachizo ngojela ni vipi? Hata huku raiani kuna watu wanakosea, sema vyao tu babu ndo vatetea. Yeah, wale tuishie hapa.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa Kinondoni, mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Magomeni, mambo vipi? Kama vipi tuonane highway na Itipaki, alafu misos tukale American chips. Watu wangu wa Kigamboni, mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Magogoni, mambo vipi? Ninakuja nishakodisha pantoni, tunaenda kujirusha huko kwenu. Watu wangu wa Mwenge, mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Temeke, mambo vipi? Msigoteke na wala usiku msiweke, muda umekwenda, zimebaki siku chache. Watu wangu wa Ilala, mambo vipi? Watu wangu wa Tabata, mambo vipi? Mambo vipi? Mchizi wetu niko fiti, niko na komana muziki.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masera vipi mambo, vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo, wazee kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, semenas vipi mambo. Bwana leo mandava kusiao,
Yeah, shalom Tina, yeah, mtole mwingine tena.
bwana leo mandava kusiao.
Kaylee, Manriza, Max, Mwangani toka kuingiza. Nimerudi.
Manriza, mambo vipi?
Thank you so much.
Nag.
Thank you so much for coming back. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Swahili number 4 Africa, but also you can find us on social media. We have a Patreon account, Swahili for Africa, number 4, and the Africa with K. But also you can follow us on Twitter, Ethiopian Swahili Community, and YouTube. I already say that. Instagram, Swahili for Africa, and so on. And before I continue, I just want to remind you about Pan-African calendar. Pan-African calendar is the calendar that we use when we are doing anything we have to do with Africa. So we go through Pan-African calendar. And today we have, this week, in fact, from yesterday, we have the death of Tanzanian former or last Pan-African president, Dr. John Joseph Pombe Magufuli. So we are celebrating his passing away, Mr. John Joseph, who was actually the president who was able to prove that in Africa we don't need to beg or to bend our back to the Western. So the fact is that we have so many often and on that some countries, even despite the fact we're trying to say we are democratic countries, but at the end of the day, that we are actually now moving economically. So President John Joseph Pombe Magufuli was able to move his country economically from being a poor country to middle class country, that he was on power. And the reason was because President John Joseph Pombe Magufuli actually did not bend to either Western or Eastern. So he was straight when it comes to his country and his natural resources. So there are a lot of things he was able to bring on table very quickly, which among of those is Tanzania Air. It's called Twiga. Twiga is actually giraffe. He was able to build many infrastructure and so many of them. But we are also working to translate some of his speech from Kiswahili language to English and maybe French for those who speak those colonial languages. They can understand what he have to say. But we are also maybe looking into how we can translate those together with the speech of first Tanzania President Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere, so that it can help some of us Africans who actually still sleeping on the same place where we were a long time ago with our ancestors. So I think that's pretty much what I want to say about Pan-African calendar. So John Joseph Magufuli died on March 17th, 2021. He was the president of Ethiopia, Sahle-Work Zewde. She was the last one to meet with him officially after, and then he died. So we do celebrate him as the only person who were able to lead the country and not compromise on anything regarding the country. So that is just was the announcement I was just telling you. If you need Pan-African calendar, please let us know in the comment section that you need Pan-African calendar. We can provide that to you definitely, so you may be able to have that with you. You know which date and what do we have on our calendar. So moving on, as I was talking about Niger, I'm still waiting for Mr. AbuBKR to come in show. I don't know what happened to him, but I'm still waiting for him. So Niger, now let me talk a little bit about natural resources in Niger. As you know, every country, the reason why European came to colonize Africa, it was not because they wanted to actually come and live in Africa and do any other thing. In fact, they come to Africa after they have stolen many of natural resources from Africa, starting from people. They took our people for slavery in 19, starting around 14th century. 16th century was the worst one. Whole way to 18th century, they were still taking people from here, Africa, for slavery. I'm talking about Western, but if we want to talk about the Eastern too, like Arabs, slavery, I think is even the longest one. But anyways, so so they took things from us. They took our people for slavery. They kidnapped them. They tortured them. They raped them. They lynched them, and so on. They saw we are not finishing like what they did to Aboriginal of Australia or American Indian. So we're not finishing. And then also, in addition to that, they took people from they took our natural resources as well. That included diamond. That time the gas, it was not a big thing, but diamond, gold, ivories from elephants, food, and spices like barbare, how they call this one here, barbare, but it's like spices, and they took everything they could have took, and they saw it's not finishing. So they decided in 1845 that they're gonna sit in what they call Berlin Conference to figure out how to divide or how to share the natural resources, but also to figure out how they divide us permanently, that we will never be independent. We will never be able to recognize or to be free again. So they definitely decided to study us. They study our culture, our religion, our history, our demographic. They study all of that, and then for 1.5 years, they were studying how to conquer and to colonize Africa. And after that, they come to Africa, and Germany, they have their own share. Without even respecting who we are, our ethnic background, our leadership that we have the kind of structured governments that were already in place by kings and so on. Some areas they were already the governments that were under king, and some they were governments that were like organized a little even more than European themselves. Some areas people were still under the kind of government that they had. So there was a lot of different government people had there, but there was no one single place that people were not in government. But also many people were organized under ethnics and traditional way of life. So they come to Africa. When they come, they come with the disease that we start to be sick and die every time, as you can see nowadays. I think you guys, you can read the history of these flus and so on. They come with disease to try to kind of diminishing our population. But sad part is that we African, we have never actually understand that these people are not here to help us. They are here to actually kill us or to conquer us and to enslave us. No, we don't see that. Instead, we see them to be people who are very nice to us, who come to save us. A lot of African, we think that when we see a European in Africa, so they come to us, and then they definitely did rape our women as well. They eat our eggs and our chicken, and they drink our milk while we were suffering, and carry them to press 1 from press A to press B, and then they come to take the natural resources. That was the intention that they have, and they make sure that they will be able to take these natural resources forever. That's why they have to study 1 year how they're gonna divide us and conquer us, because otherwise it will not gonna happen. So they were able to study us, and they did very well. because until today we still colonized. And later on, they even introduced education system, which is what we have today, that will also keep us under submission of their power. And after that, then they continue on with, of course, the slavery that they have already established, the colonization. They kept that. They divide us in religion. Sometimes people will say, hey, you know why Africans, you guys, you are not good because we bring you Christianity, we bring you this and that. You don't bring anything. African people, some of Africa, people were Christian before you guys, you folks, European, talking about that. People were Christian long time before European Christian. And in fact, I think if you talk about Christianity starting, I think if you want to talk about that, maybe you will start from even Judaism and how to Christianity. African people were Jew and are Jew naturally. In fact, when it comes to religion, I'm talking about that, but also to ethnic as well. They are Jew way before European or white folks, because if you can remember, when it comes to Christianity, the man who carried the cross of Jesus was a African. Not only that, the first institution or theological school, it was in Egypt, in school of Alexandria. The Bible was written in Africa by Saint Marcos, who was African from what is today known as Libya, but that time was Put. I think you guys know who's Put. Put is the brother of Egypt and Ethiopia, the history facts. So not only that, everything started from Africa, started by Black people, in fact. So you can deny that. And so you can say that African people were not Christian before white people, but some areas African people were not Christian. That is also as a fact. Even today, African people are not Christian in some areas, maybe a lot of areas. But even the Islam too, as well, is started by. It may not start by Black people, but it was grown by Black people. So, anyways, leave this religion things alone, because I don't like to dwell in that. But I just trying to tell you that white people did not bring us much in general for whole Africa, because some of African part were already civilized and were already developed a long time. Like when it comes to education, European, they did not bring us education, they bring us brainwash education. That's why the world is in fact in danger, because of Western education system. The education that does not teach you how to respect your elders, the education that promotes same-sex, the education that promotes corruption, because if it was not the case, so how can we in Africa, we have the most of educated leaders? I think if you look from Kenyan president, they are graduates in Western, the Tanzanian president, the South African president, and Mali president, Malawi president, and Ivory Coast president. Every one of the presidents, the whole way to Portuguese, who been on a power for his entire life, they have degrees from Western education, but they are corrupted. Our leaders are so corrupted; they are not people to trust. Even if you look, most of like doctor or PhD presidents are African leaders, but what do they do to change their country and the citizens that they are governing? Nothing. So because the Western education is definitely not is not established to empower people to create a community of thinkers. Instead, is created to keep us, especially African people, even Black people in America as well, is created to keep us in submission and to never think around. Instead, to just wake up in the morning, you go to like like a machine, and then they pay you the money, you pay tax, and when you pay tax, then you go, you pay your rent, or you pay them rent because the house is owned by them, and then when you finish, you finish your life just trying to fight to you know, to survive, and whole your entire life is gonna finish in that way. And that's how you possibly can say that education is definitely one of the area where African must fight to liberate herself. But not only education, also economically, which was the reason why they come to colonize us, or they come to take Africa, is because of economic interests. And not only that, is also the reason why they come to take our people for slavery. It was because they want people who can grow the sugar cane, and even now it's because of economy. Our people are in Niger and most of places, especially in America, United States of America, black people are in Niger. It's because of economy that Haiti is still down, because the gold is still not being paid or paid back. So we have this kind of situation that is based on economy. So slavery and colonization, it was not based on any other thing. It's just based on economy. If someone ever tell you that they are not colonized, if that is in Africa is false, because our all natural resources are being taken by people who don't pay for them. So that's one of the things that President John Joseph Magufuli talked about. So if someone can come and take your diamond or your gas or your gold or your trees or your copper or your whatever it is they can take, or even your people, without paying them, is colonization. It is definitely colonization. So anyways, let me move on and talk about Niger. So knew that there is one article I found here said that news that the French nuclear company Avera has finally signed a new operation contract with the Niger government for its North uranium mining, has received a cushion welcome from transparency companies. National and negotiation over the renewal of the deal has been started for more than 6 months after Avera initially said the application of the terms of a new 2006 mining code, which demand a loyal increase from 5% to between. This is even a joke. So you pay between 5% to 12%, and 15% will make it operational in the town of Ort are not profitable. So this is just saying that the country is paying 12%. France country is paying 12% of uranium that they are digging from the country. So think about that. I think that you definitely need to understand the fact that if you pay 12%, what in the world are you paying? It's pretty much like you are taking that and for free. You are just stealing. It's just you are colonizing the country. That's another way to say it. And if you pay only 12%, you are colonizing the country. You are taking natural resources. You're not paying for it, because I believe that if you would go to which country? You go to France or any other country and take the natural resources, and then you pay 12% or 5%. Definitely, they're not gonna take that. There is no way they're gonna be able to take that. So why then is that okay? for France to take that from Niger, but it's not fine for any other country to do that to themselves. So, anyways, it's just unseen. But what can you do? Because we Africa, there is one thing we always avoid is the unity of Africa. If we can never unite, definitely we will always have this kind of problem. We will always have these colonizers taking everything from us. So pretty much I think that's what I can say about Niger today. And I will be able, I still could not get, I still cannot get my special guest to come in show. So I will definitely, I don't know, I'm gonna try to again to contact him. Maybe we'll have to reschedule that. But I know that we have a situation here where we have issue of language, because mainly when we have a panel discussion as African, you found out that we don't even have a language or means of communication, because some people are French colonized and some other people are British colonized, and so, and other are Portuguese. Last time I had a special guest from Brazil, so we had to use Portuguese. Today I was thinking some of French, because my special guest does not speak good English, but he did not show up. So anyways, screen you see the president of Niger. President of Niger is whom you see on screen. So I just want to make sure that you see who is the president of the country. And I don't really know exactly how long he's been president, but of Niger and demographics of the country Niger. I hope you enjoy this show. We will definitely go back there again and ask my special guest. I will figure out if I can get someone different to talk about and Pan-Africanism, because Niger is actually among the countries that are in good location when it comes to the Pan-Africanism. Countries like Mali and Burkina Faso in the right position here to the rest of African countries. In fact, that Mali and Burkina Faso are trying to raise their neck and see if they can get they can free themselves from the French country, which is still doing what is called the pack of colonization. I think since I'm talking about Niger, let me bring this up to you, to your attention, guys. If you ever watch this show, you will definitely, I think you will find out about the pack of continuation of colonization, which is unbelievable and insane. So the pack of continuation of colonization, I'm gonna read our article about it, and then you guys will agree with me at this that Africa is still under colonization, whether you believe or not, and it's up to you, not to me, to liberate Africa or to try to free Africa as much as possible and as quickly as possible as well, because this cannot continue at this time. We African, we have come a long way. We try a long time. We try so many things. So I think we must. I don't. What can I say? We try many things. Our people have tried and tried and tried. Yeah. So let me share this article with you guys about this pack of continuation of colonization, so you guys can find out, or you can possibly understand how sick is this French and this so-called independence that we received from those countries. So here we go. So the French colonization of Africa, the pack for the continuation of colonization. So it's the pact for the continuation of colonization. So the French colony pact was the name of the agreement between France and 11 other African countries. The goal was to maintain the continuation of French colonial rule in Africa. The pact was first established on April 9 in 1944. So that's before we even think of independence, some of our African countries. But it wasn't until December 19th in 1947 that it's become effective. The treaty acknowledged the sovereignty of the member of the state. No, it does not. But it's allows France to intervene militarily if one of them was threatened by another country. You see, so it's still, how do he has a sovereignty, but is just French can still come inside and mess with, mess with your, whatever your business you talk about, whatever your sovereignty is. So for instance, the end that was independence of most of African countries around the Africa in 1960s to 1970s, which mixed result due to the relationship with France still enact. Tunisia, it's also had precaution for European political wars as well as the U.S. foreign policy. Like, how do you talk about something like for sovereignty of a country, and then you have this pact of continuation of colonization? So the French colonial pact, the Cold War. So this also went over to the Cold War. African independence countries after of the pact. Solution. I don't see exactly what it's saying, what it's supposed to be saying, but the pact of continuation of colonization was saying is that the countries under this pact of continuation of colonization is that France can come or intervene in your country, you cannot buy anything without them and all of that. And the military can come, can stay in your country, and all of those kind of things. Let me see if I can find exactly what it's saying. So the French pact of is the agreement between goal was to maintain a colony or no, it's not I'm looking for, but let me see. Those use of part of establishing colonial. Yeah. So, anyways, so the pact of continuation of colonization is just another way to just colonize you, but just giving you what is so-called the flag and independence and all those yada yada. But we are still here. We are still taking your natural resources. Our military bases are still in your country. Our radio stations are still operating. The language you must speak is our language. If we don't want any leader, we remove that leader. It's this BS of so-called independence, but it's definitely not independence at all. So we African, we must end that, and that's why Dr. Arikanachu Ombariko, she said no, hell no. And when she started talking about that, they fired her from her position being ambassador for African Union, because as you know, African Union is just another institution that is just, France. It's just France inside Africa. That's what I can possibly tell you. But so anyhow, so for a part of continuation of colonization is just as he's saying is what it is. So with that being said, I think my time is ending today. I'm very, very sorry. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We could not get our special guest in the studio, so I will fight to see if I can get him back. But also, even brother Eugene did not show up to the show because he have some going on his side. So that being said, let me take a little break, then I'll be right back.
Alhaji Taikuni Ali, yeah, aka Mchizi Mox, yeah, mambo vipi, Charlotte Tina, yeah, Charlotte Tina, yeah, ay.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asadu vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa bongo mambo vipi, watu wangu mambo vipi, haina shobo mchizoni, nipo ndani ya bongo bado unaendelea kufanya mambo. Watu wangu wa town mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Dodoma mambo vipi, hey nisubirini Tripoli na nyoa Dodoma nitakuwepo Tiger Hotel. Watu wangu wa Mwanza mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Shinyanga mambo vipi, simnalala fanyeni biashara madini Masangala mtapata mahela kibao tukiuza Ulaya. Watu wangu wa Morogoro mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Tanga mambo vipi, mnakaa mnajiuliza Tanga kunani, fanyeni kweli kama nzoni wa mjika zonu kwani.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asadu vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, watoto vipi mambo.
Msikilizaji mambo vipi, Twika mwamba kamtoa Mchizi Mox ili nyinyi uko street muuchezo muziki. Kama kweli mko fiti, Kampala mambo vipi, Nairobi mambo vipi, mkisikia muziki mnabudi kusheki, mubugi mudensi, musheki, yuno vyenu kama snake, play viad mambo vipi, Sinza Star mambo vipi, haina haja kushangaa kula kitu kisha tambaa, mamwela mezagaa kila kona ya mtaa, unakwisha ukizubaa, Beila mambo vipi, machizo ngojela ni vipi, hata huku raiani kuna watu wanakosea, sema vyao vyao tu babu ndo vinavyotetea, wale tuishie hapa.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, asadu vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo.
Watu wangu wa Kinondoni mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Magomeni mambo vipi, kama vipi tuonane highway na itipaki, alafu misos tukane American chips. Watu wangu wa Kigamboni mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Magogoni mambo vipi, unakuja nishakodisha pantoni tunaenda kujirusha huko kwenu. Watu wangu wa Mwenge mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Temeke mambo vipi, msigoteke na wala usiku msiweke, muda umekwenda zimebaki siku chache. Watu wangu wa Ilala mambo vipi, watu wangu wa Tabata mambo vipi, na vipi mchizi wenu si bad, niko fiti na bad na komana muziki.
Nauliza vipi mambo, masela vipi mambo, vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo, wazee vipi mambo, kina mama vipi mambo, na watoto vipi mambo, sementa vipi mambo. Leo wanafaa kusiao,
Yeah, shout Tina, yeah, mtole mwingine tena.
bwana leo
Mambo vipi?
Yeah, so thank you so much. We are closing our program today. I hope you enjoyed this show. And again, as I was telling you, you can always find us on our social. We got here our YouTube channel, as you can see on screen, is Swahili for Africa, and 7 top African Swahili, African official language, and Swahili common language, Swahili. African working language, Swahili African unified languages. So Swahili for Africa, you can always find us, but also you can find us on Instagram as well. Same thing, you can find us on Instagram as Swahili for Africa. As you can see that is Swahili for Africa Instagram web page, but also that was Instagram, the Twitter, and all of the media. But don't forget to subscribe to us on Patreon. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was Pan-African conversation with a gentleman from Niger who did not show up in the show, but we are hoping to be able to see him next time, because he just sent me a message and he said that he was not be able to come in because of some family issues that is going on. So that being said, tomorrow I'm gonna be in air at 6 p.m. in East Africa time, where I'm gonna be talking about John Magufuli. So if you want to know more about John Magufuli, I'll be in the air tomorrow at 6 p.m. on African East Africa time. Again, thank you so much for joining us. This was Pan-African Academy, and my name is Imani Yohani Paul from here at Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I wish you a wonderful weekend. We will meet on next week, where we're gonna be having special guests from Gambia, if I'm not mistaken, who is gonna be talking to us about going back to Africa movement. So, I hope you enjoyed this. We always trying to bring some information to you that can possibly help you to be able to be successful in your life. Let me leave you with this video a little bit, and then we will be right back. We'll be finishing with you with that. So again, I do appreciate for each one of you guys who came to our show. It was very amazing that we were trying to get inside Africa and didn't see what is going on. Okay. So again, that was it for Pan-African today. My name is Imani Yohani Paulo. I'm gonna leave you with this show here, and I will be back to you in next week in English tomorrow, Sunday at 6 p.m. East African time in Kiswahili. But we also offer Swahili class. If you want to learn Swahili online, please let us know. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Outside of us, the enemy outside of me, the enemy outside of you. But I'm here to tell you right now, you can destroy racism in America all day long, but if the cracker that's written space in your mind is not done away with, he will just come back and reinvent himself through us. It's the internal white man that's our problem. It's the internal white woman that's our problem. Every black woman has a white girl inside of her. Every black man has a white boy inside of him. And until you admit that you have this spiritual cancer, you will never ever redeem yourself. And I'm here to tell you tonight, Baltimore, that one of the things we have to do as a people, and Pastor would agree, we have to reconnect, reassemble, remerge the color of our skin as an aspect of our divinity. I need you to hear me really well. And a lot of you are not going to understand it. It's going to go over your head because most of us have been raised on a steady diet of colorblind multiculturalism. Black people are the only colorblind people in the state of Maryland. The Chinese in Maryland are not colorblind. The East Indians in Maryland are not colorblind. The European Jews in Maryland are not colorblind. The Irish, the Italians, the Chinese, the only group in this country that practices multiculturalism is the American Negro. And the reason you are so multicultural has nothing to do with God, nothing to do with Christ. It's a self-hate thing that has you begging and wishing for approval from other races. You want to be validated. You want to be appreciated. You want to be needed. You want to belong. And you are willing to let your children be miseducated for it. You are willing to let your men be mass incarcerated for it. You are willing, single mothers struggle and die them kids on their own just so you can get a seat at your slave master's table. Until you kill the need to be approved of by white folks, don't you call yourself a devotee of Christ. Because if you need the white man's validation in order to feel whole, then the white man just became your God, not Christ. Listen, I am not a black supremacist. I do not teach that we are better than anybody. I have no need for a little white girl to believe she's less attractive than my black daughter. I have no need for a little Chinese boy to think he's inferior to our black sons. I have no need for that. But I do believe in the truth. And when I study spiritual history, I can't help but notice every prophet that God sent to this planet. Every single one, including Buddha, including Krishna, every single prophet looked like me. So if I am not in some way a reflection of divine cosmic power, then who else could be? Brothers and sisters, the color of your skin is not a color. It is a chemical. And that chemical, that melanin that gives our skin the beautiful assortment of browns and golds that we have. This chemical is a God chemical. It is because you are melanated that you are able to experience spiritual ecstasies that no other group could even dream of. Stop taking your blackness out of your religion. Stop taking your blackness out of your spirituality. Stop taking your blackness out of your relationship with God. Do you not know when you don't give expression to the cosmic color of your skin,